It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back at your Feel Good Breakfast Show, opening up right here on S3. And we are doing something special, of course. I told you about this before the break, and we're about to dive into an incredible conversation with an incredible woman. Now, while strides have been taken globally to close the gender gap in industries across the board, women still remain vastly underrepresented in the tech space. But there are women in the tech space who need to be celebrated, such as Ada Lovelace, who is considered to be the first computer programmer. We've got Grace Hopper, who worked on the first US commercial computer, and Edith Clark, as well as many more. Now, our next guest goes by the name of Eyre. She's a communication coach and consultant, a TEDx speaker, as well as a researcher of the metaverse. Now, she's joining us in studio to talk about women in tech as well as her work. Jo, good morning. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm really well. Thanks for the great intro.
Oh, it's absolutely deserved, and I'm so glad we get to celebrate another incredible woman doing beautiful work. But let's talk about the work you're actually doing. You're, I would call you like a communications expert,
Yes, yeah.
but you're doing something incredible, and I want to know what exactly is the aim, what is the work that you do, and what is the mission?
The mission, yeah. So I've worked in communication for most of my career, and I love it because it's so fundamental to everything that we do. So, you know, from the personal relationships that we have, to the relationships we have with ourselves, to the businesses that we work in, even to societies and how they position themselves. So communication really is the cornerstone of everything, and that's why I've fallen in love with it, and I've worked in comms for so long. And when it comes to my mission, you know, I've always really been fascinated at that intersection between technology and communication.
Yes.
And how tech can both help us connect, but simultaneously kind of make us feel isolated as well.
Yeah.
And it's such a crazy paradox. So that's what I've always looked into. And so my mission from that standpoint really is to use tech as an enabler to help people connect more deeply, whether you are connecting with, with your family, or whether you're connecting with your customers. So that's what I really want to do.
I love that, and I think it's so pertinent considering the world we've just kind of, I hope, moved out from, especially when you talk about the lockdown. Communication and tech kind of was like essential and in demand for the environments that we were trying to navigate. But let's talk about something more pertinent, especially to do with women and with women in business. How exactly are you helping that communication kind of extend beyond what it currently is, and how are you taking a different approach to that?
Yeah, so I think with communication, I want to help everybody communicate,
Yeah.
whether you're a man or
I can
woman.
hear the passion. I'm just like, everyone deserves
No,
this.
everybody
Yeah.
does. But I think helping women is something that's quite close to my heart, because I think, you know, for historical reasons, societal reasons, cultural reasons, women, particularly in the workplace, often don't come with their full authenticity, often don't communicate from a place of real, you know, who they really are.
Yeah.
And I think that can really help. It's very detrimental for our self-worth, for our self-esteem. So, you know, I've been lucky to have fantastic female role models, and I'd love to be that for others as well, because it's often how we talk to ourselves, right? You know, we think about communication, and we always think about that being something external to ourselves, but actually it starts with how we talk to ourselves. And some women, and men of course, but we often don't talk to ourselves particularly nicely.
Positively.
Right, yeah. So I think we always start there.
I like that. And maybe to kind of extend on what you're saying, I can imagine then with that example, there's obviously thoughts of women maybe being I don't know, portrayed to be inferior. I mean, especially in business, there's this male domination that sometimes still unfortunately creeps through. And I can imagine how that must have effect on your mentality, essentially. If you don't feel like you're worth it, if you don't give yourself that positive affirmation like you're mentioning now, that can potentially affect you. Is this something that you've maybe experienced in the business place? Is it something that's still happening?
Yeah, I think working in tech for a lot of my career, it can sometimes feel a bit of a boys' club, and I've certainly been in a position where I've tried to be one of the boys rather than
being
really
being
my authentic self and bringing that femininity. And you know, when we talk about the workplace, as much as it's really important to recognise the challenges that women go through themselves, it's also about, you know, whether you're male or female, it's about being the best person you can be as an individual. And that may mean using or trying to get better at utilizing those more feminine, traditional feminine aspects, things like nurturing abilities, empathy, whilst also using perhaps those more traditional male attributes, things like decisiveness. And so it's about being well-rounded and using all of those different traits so that whether you're a man or a woman, you can be the best business person you can be.
Oh, I love this conversation, Joe, and I know that we're going to dive into another session in just a bit, Mzansi. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to bring more practicality to this approach and maybe assist you as well. And of course, as we also celebrate women this month, it's fitting that our Golden Baker Search Christmas in July edition bake is off and has 3 all-female best friend duos giving it their all for a chance to win the grand prize with 50,000 Rand. So which 2 teams will rise to the challenge and make it through to the grand finale tomorrow? Well, let the Christmas creativity begin.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, Mzansi, welcome back, your Feel Good Breakfast Show, as we celebrate the month of women and continue our chat with communications expert Joe Eyre. And she is on a mission to help businesswomen become better communicators and build businesses that can change the world. Joe, we had an incredible conversation just about what you were doing and about women in business. I wanted to maybe just dive on this. It might sound philosophical, but I'm sure this makes sense to you when I ask this question. But with regards to the tech world, what does the woman mind have to offer?
The woman's mind. So I think when it comes to technology, it's really about having this diversity of perspective.
Yeah.
And bringing as many different parties to the table as you can, because we've got artificial intelligences, we've got AI, and algorithms that are now behaving in ways that we don't fully understand,
Yeah.
which is concerning, and that are inherently quite racist and sexist. And that isn't necessarily because the people that built them are overtly racist and sexist. It's because the people that built them only had one worldview and a very similar worldview. And so bringing more minds, including female minds, to the table can really, get rid of that problem.
It's almost like inclusivity within
Absolutely.
that space, right?
And it's so important as these technologies become more intelligent.
I love that. Now, on top of this, you're doing incredible things in this space, but you also did something huge. You had a TEDx talk in Cape Town, which I can imagine was phenomenal. But how did it actually go? What was the experience like?
It was fantastic. I mean, the whole process is very in-depth, and you're taken through a whole coaching process, which is brilliant. But for me, I think the best thing was meeting all of these other people from completely different walks of life, different viewpoints, different ideas, and realizing that actually everybody, doesn't matter who you are, does have an idea worth spreading.
Yeah.
And that's so inspiring. Just a fantastic experience.
And on top of that, I mean, we were chatting off camera. You used tech in such a beautiful way to practice and prepare for that.
Yes.
You used AI. How exactly did you use it?
So I used a VR software called Engage VR, and they've actually got a TED stage in their virtual reality software that I used to practice, so I could see an audience in front of me and get over those nerves.
I think that is so smart. I think, Mzansi, that's a great tip for you. If you are struggling or want to practice your speaking in front of the camera, in front of a big audience, then maybe you can reach out to Jo and she can assist you with some of the programs that can help you practice and engage in that environment. I love it. I think it's just exciting that you're also not only doing a TED Talk, but you're kind of researching this new world, this metaverse, and you are inviting this concept of collaboration within the metaverse. What exactly does that mean for the layman that doesn't really even understand it? What's going on there? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, metaverse has become both a trendy word, but also people kind of sometimes freak out a little bit. But really, I think at the most basic level, it's just the next evolution of the internet. And so my PhD research is specifically looking at how we can use immersive technologies like virtual reality to collaborate better and more creatively within workplaces. So I'll just take you back a step as to why I find this interesting.
Yeah.
So I've worked remotely for a lot of my career, even before it was cool. and I've never really liked video calls that much. And when we look at how we communicate, 2D screens are really display technology. It's designed to display things. It's not really communication technology. It was never designed to be that. And so when I ask people, why do we still use video calls? They say, well, it's the best we have. I'm like, is it really the best we have? And so I started looking at virtual reality and immersive technologies instead. And there's fantastic ways we can use that to be more creative, to feel like we're actually with people and have that feeling of co-presence.
Oh, it's so exciting. I definitely think we were talking about earlier, it's definitely not the future anymore. It is the now. We are living in this world that is, I think, like avatars coming to life, essentially, if you really think about the symbolistic meaning in that. I think just for people that want to find out about you, people that want to get some help or some tips in this new space, where can they find you? Can they reach out to you? Are you offering any assistance in this?
I'm always happy to talk about this. As you can see, I'm really passionate about it and excited. But LinkedIn is the best place. That's where I'm active. You'll see me posting all sorts of funny and interesting things about what's happening in the space. So, yeah.
Oh, well, Jo, you're definitely a woman to celebrate. I can't thank you enough for joining us this morning, sharing some more about your world, the metaverse, and the incredible work that you're doing. And I can't encourage you to just continue it enough and to encourage more women to do what you're doing. I think it is much, much needed and long overdue. And for you, Mzansi, you want to get in touch with Jo, you want to find out more about the metaverse or women in business or anything involving tech that can assist you in communication, and she's the one for you. Of course, it's time now to go and celebrate and find a winner. Let's check it out.